It's no lie to say that Nintendo has an interesting take on what a controller should look like. If for whatever reason you wanted a controller to look like a remote or a fork, maybe even some nunchucks, or just a plain old controller, Nintendo will have you covered. Whatever your taste is, let's dive into the first one and explore all of Nintendo's controllers. The Nintendo Entertainment System was a fresh take on home gaming. After the video game market crashed, they changed the idea of a home console to a home entertainment system. Along with a console or a system, you always get a controller. With the NES being close to one of the first actual home consoles, they had to come up with a way to play these games. You have a directional pad or the D-pad to control where you are going, and two buttons for different actions depending on the game. It was pretty straightforward controller and had no problems besides being too square-like and pointy. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System was an upgrade of the NES with more power and newer games. The controller took away the sharp edges and smoothed them out, making a rounder controller, and took the already simple controller and added a shoulder button and two more action buttons. So there were now more things you could do with more fingers, but other than that, pretty much the same idea, and it was still working. This controller started the layout for what we know as controllers today. The Nintendo 64 brought new games with this new console that introduced the world to 3D games. With that is needed an analog stick, and it was not made to last. It broke and was not super durable, and the controller looked like a fork. With the three prongs, you can either hold the controller to play games that would work like older games, or hold the middle and edge to play the newer games that needed the analog stick. Now we know controllers to have two analog sticks, but then you had to use the four yellow buttons to control the camera, which I never did and forgot about those buttons if I ever even played it. But this finally added a trigger along with making this controller look even more like the modern day ones, besides the fact that it has a third leg. The GameCube controller changed gaming forever with all its wacky layout, two triggers and two analog sticks, so every finger is always needing to do something. Has better grip than the Nintendo 64 and is way less confusing. The triggers were amazing and had a little click on it when it hit the bottom. Instead of the four yellow buttons on the 64 controller, they turned that into a yellow analog stick, which is now known as the analog stick that just controls your camera and where you are looking. This controller looks most like modern controllers and is highly loved by so many gamers. The buttons are super wonky and not all alike to show that the A button is the most important one, so you don't get confused with whether you should press A or B when you also have other consoles. The Wii stopped caring about power and decided to go for fun. It worked, but to do that, they had to design something new and different. Nintendo decided to go with motion controls, and with that, you can't exactly have a regular controller. So here comes the Wii Remote or Wiimote, which is the perfect name because it's literally a remote and the home screen looks like a TV. This controller looks super weird coming off their highest praised controller yet, and made it just a remote that everyone already has in their house. If you decided to add a nunchuck to it, and made it look like a legit pair of nunchucks, it added so many games and mechanics you can play. The controller still has a trigger on the back, but if you were to imagine a controller right now, the Wii Remote won't pop in your head. It might since we were talking about it, but you would most likely think of a PS5 or Xbox controllers, not the Wiimote. The Wii U really tried to do something new like the Wii did, but keep it like the Wii, but it failed super badly. The controller that came in the box for the Wii U was the gamepad, and it's interesting. It seems like it doesn't mesh well with the TV stuff, and you need the Wii U on to use the gamepad, but it was comfortable and you could play with the TV off and had a camera for whatever that was worth. I am merging the Switch and Switch 2 Joy-Cons because it's pretty much the same thing and same buttons besides the game share and size. These are weird though. If you really think about controllers again, these are weird. They are half controllers, but even if you put them together, they don't look like a controller. They are very practical, being able to use them anywhere and any way, like flipping it on its side and using the extra buttons on the sides where you slide or click them. They do come with their problems, like the stick drift that will eventually reach most controllers. They are also small, and after long sessions, your hands start to cramp, but the games make up for it. Maybe Nintendo doesn't know what a weird controller is, and maybe if all the controllers are weird, none of them are weird. Either way, I still love the games, and I don't really notice what I'm playing on when I'm playing, so it's all chill, and I'll see you guys next time, so make sure you subscribe. See ya!